welcome, my friends, to Rave ABCs. This is a class I like to call Revealing the Mechanics of the Maya. It's the second class in the official track of the Human Design Systems learning material, or the path, if you will. And it's basically designed to be an extension of the class that you may or may not have just taken, the Living Your Design class. So that is a prerequisite for this class. So we'll need to have made sure that you do that class before you dive into at least the fourth class of this, because that's where we start to get technical and work with your charts, and where you're going to start being able to articulate back to us what your chart means. So it's not about no longer just us saying, hey, this is what this means, this is what this means. It's about getting you to this ability to start to learn to read charts. And the best way to learn to read charts is to practice it. So that's going to be my first and foremost primary operative, so that I can get you guys comfortable and confident with this knowledge. You're basically learning to speak a new language. God, I remember starting in 2012 listening to Ra and going, I can't understand half of the words that are coming out of this guy's mouth, but I stuck with it. I kept listening, I kept learning. And it's very important that you get support in that. So this is where we're at. Okay, so the first step. Sorry, my chat did open up. I didn't realize that it would open up when I was presenting here. So the first class is Living Your Design. Jasmine, could you get the link for Living Your Design for Kathy when you get a chance? The next one is in a couple weeks with Peter Burv. We have Peter Burv who is going to be teaching that class. Okay, so I'm going to welcome you to Human Design, give you a little intro into who I am, how I work. I'm going to tell you about why you would want to learn Rave ABCs, again, an extension of Living Your Design. And then I'm going to go over the classes of what you're going to learn, okay? I do have some prerequisites that I'll go over briefly. There's also going to be some frequently asked questions and some keys to the experiment. I'm going to give you an additional follow-up resource, a video that I've posted on YouTube to help people learn how to experiment with their decision-making strategy, their strategy and authority. And at the end, hopefully, if I rearranged it properly, I have a special offer for those of you who would like to continue. Okay, so this is the beautiful Rave Mandala wheel that Ra Uru Hu was told to draw in his 8-day mystical experience that you learned a little bit about in the Living Your Design class. And so we're diving a little tiny bit deeper into that, how that works, how it happened. And I'll give you another resource if that's interesting for you to follow up on, so that you can listen to Ra speak from the horse's mouth what happened to them. But I'm Lavina. I've been in human design since 2012. Somebody literally took me by the shoulders, shook me, and said, you need to know this, because my frequency was very off. I was behaving like a generator, and I was acting very much spontaneously out of fear, trying desperately to prove myself because I wanted to know everything about everything. And I was overworking myself and exhausted and always mentally defensive, instead of being patient and waiting and letting my imagination just feed my emotionality and my spirit. Instead of being inspired and empowered, I was deeply disempowered. Now, 8 years later, I am a teacher at the International Human Design School. I'm also a teacher at the BG5 Business Institute. I co-authored the book that you see on jovianarchive.com, which is the source of the human design system. I co-authored that book with Ra's wife, and it's called An Introduction to Discovering Yourself. So that's a tiny bit about me. I am in my final experience of the differentiation degree program, which is 2.5 years of training beyond the 3.5 that it takes to become an analyst. So I'm a teacher trainer now. I teach people how to live their design as well as become guides so that they can teach others how to live their design. I also know how to do all of the basic analysis that you could do with an individual Rave chart. I teach this class, the next class, Rave Cartography, and the business aspect of these basic fundamental classes. And I also just started my first certification class for people to become a BG5 small business and career analyst and engineer. So it's been definitely a really amazing journey. And my favorite thing in the world, because I do have a teacher line, you can see it's my unconscious earth, it's my design. My favorite thing in the world is to be able to hold together a group of people that are empowered, that are moving forward together in empowerment. I let the knowledge do its work. I repeat the knowledge in many, many, many different ways, as many ways as I can think of to get the message across. And I am not anybody that knows anything more than you do. Really, I know a lot of mechanics, but for you, you know yourself best. And I'm going to refer back to you as the authority in your life as much as possible. Then, of course, also answering any questions that you have to the best of my ability. And I am a student of human design, just like you are. So there's no power trip here. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm not going to advise you in these classes. I'm going to help you really get to that place where you can be your own authority. That's my goal. So in this particular presentation, again, why are we going to learn this stuff? What you're going to learn, I need to share with you some really highly recommended resources and also give you an opportunity to ask some basic questions about the system. So I've worked for Jovian Archive for let's see, it's 6 years now. So I know a lot about who does what and who can do what, and I can connect people, connect the dots and share resources and such. So that's part of my trip as a projector, as an advisor. Now, actually, I see a couple of chats, so I'm just going to make sure that you don't need me. Thank you, Jazz, for sharing that one. She's got the link in there to the basic first class of this particular human design track. Okay, so why would you want to dive into this experience of learning your Rave ABCs, basically the ABCs of a body graph? So one of the really interesting things that are happening right now is that Pluto and I believe it's Jupiter are both sitting right here in gate 61. This is the hexagram for gate 61. Okay, so we have two solid lines, two broken lines, two solid lines. In the middle here is openness or silence. Sometimes there are no answers to the mysteries in life. The inner truth just brings a silence or a quietude, a space, if you will. And so much of us, so many of us are trapped in the illusion our mind creates for us that we remind ourselves of every day. So you wake up in the morning and you have had a nice dream or not, and your memory comes flooding back of what you need to do and where you need to go and the decisions and the calls and the whatever it is, the yada yadas. There's a different way, because if you can keep following down that path and just constantly busy all the time, constantly trying to do more, instead of following your body, you're following your mind. And the Living Your Design class is designed to be an awakening experience that breaks through some of the conditioned mind patterns that you have and that you hold so dear and that you identify with as yourself. In this class, that was kind of like a breaking down kind of experience, Living Your Design. In this class, I hope to teach you and be a companion for you as you walk along in this journey, which can be very isolating, especially if you don't know anybody in your life that is actually experimenting also with living their design. And it's not all that popular yet, although you see a lot of people talking about it. It's on the podcast and it's on TV. But it's still, in the natural scheme of things, it's still a very obscure language and a lifestyle. So one of the things that is really important to me, it's one of the channels that I have, is to provide a sacred or a safe space for people to come together and to both learn and share their experiences and grow together. That's part of where I fulfill my purpose as a cross of contagion. A contagion is somebody who infects you. I'm designed to infect you with knowledge, infects you so that you can be initiated on a different path in life. And if you stop believing the story your mind gives you, oftentimes there's a relaxation in the body and a relieving of the stress and the pain and the suffering that you've been experiencing. So that's my biggest recommendation of why you would want to learn your ABCs. Really, learning how to read a chart is secondary. learning how to decipher where's this and where's that. That's just fun stuff for the mind to do while your body starts to relax, because this human design experiment takes time. It's not an instant quick fix. So I'm hopeful that I will be able to inspire you. It is my design to do so. Inspire you on this path and in this journey so that you can discover yourself. It's my biggest recommendation, to give yourself the time and energy to commit to your own experience. So again, this year we have a very, very special opportunity. There's been a repeating pattern, a theme of convergence of the 61. This was actually in January, the last time that I ran this particular chart, was to just see, okay, what are the planetary activations that are happening? Well, there was a lot of stuff going on here. And right now, it's actually Jupiter and Pluto up there. So a lot of teaching of deep transformation to awaken to the mystery of what it is to honor and be yourself. So that's a big thing that I would like to invite you to do. Now, on these slides, I'm not going to read this out loud, but I just want you to know that a lot of students have gone through this class and they've really found a lot of benefit, even if they're not moving on to become a certified professional. However, it is the requirement. This is the first step in becoming any kind of certified human design professional, is this class. So this is where we start to dive into being a professional and what does that mean. So we talk about circuitry, we talk about our design in relationship to others, and we talk about being able to navigate the conscious and the unconscious, the red and the black, we call them roads and tunnels, the circuits and the streams of awareness, which is, quite frankly, my favorite part of human design to teach, because it's so empowering for you to see where you fit in along the path of these circuitries and these streams of awareness. Like, what's your little part that you play in the greater scheme of things? And then to see that reflected in the world around you, to look at the charts of your people in your life and to see where you guys complete either these circuits or these streams, to help you awaken passenger awareness. So passenger awareness is basically seeing, observing rather than identifying with what the mind is telling you. And it improves the quality of your relationships, this ABC. It's definitely something that I cherish in both taking and then teaching it as well. Now, some of the benefits of human design, the things that I desire to teach you, is to help you gain an understanding of who you are, your part that you play in this world. It is going to reveal the role that you play within the totality of existence. Human design will. It allows your life purpose to flow absolutely and utterly through you without resistance. So instead of railing against the machine and thinking, oh my God, what's wrong with me or what's wrong with them, you accept your place and you honor everybody's individual nature. And you don't have to rage or throw tantrums or scream or cry. Well, you still might cry. I do. I know I do. But it's a beautiful experience, my crying now. Whereas before, I used to throw tantrums and break things when things wouldn't go my way. Now, it's also going to show you why you don't have to find your purpose. You're already living it. You're already living the breathing example of what your body graph is. It's just you vacillate back and forth between the self and not self, as you learned in your Living Your Design. The more you decondition, the more you live in alignment, the more your purpose starts to live through you. You are your purpose in this life. So you don't have to struggle anymore. It doesn't have to be such a fight. Well, some of us have to struggle. Isn't that right, Jazz? But the struggle is empowering if you happen to have that channel, because you have tenacity, because you recognize that this is what you're passionate about and this is what fills you with life force and energy. So the benefit is that you will start to observe your body have correct action from harmony in the flow of life's existence. And this is the alchemy of being yourself. This is what awakens us to our true nature, is the observation as you decondition. So that's my primary operative. My goal in ABC is to keep establishing the basic fundamental human design foundations where type is a constant. We're going to practice chart synthesis i.e. keynoting in this class. I really encourage you to come to class, to participate, to have a discussion. There's a group practice at the end of this class, at the end of my lecture pieces with you. Most of you will know Julie. She's the admin at the office at humandesignlifecoaching.com, and she is also in her analyst training. She's a certified living your design guide. She's supported me for the longest in my business, and she's really, really one of my top students, really, really knowledgeable and supportive and caring and nurturing in the observation of you as you deliver your keynoting, because there's an end assignment that you can do, or you don't have to. It's up to you. But there's a space for you to come to practice and play, okay? So my biggest recommendation, if you have anybody in your life that you can get all geeky and excited about and share with what you're experiencing, please do so according to your decision-making strategy, your strategy and authority. Because the best way that you learn this is to, as soon as possible after we have our class together, to try and explain it to someone else. Okay, repetition is the mother of all learning. I highly encourage that you practice with people's charts. Look at people's charts. You can go to mybodygraph.com and there's a free version. You can sign up and save as many charts as you want to, all free. And the basic fundamental first step is free as well. So now let's talk about what you'll learn in Rave ABCs. You see this little hole right here? I had my graphic designer create that because it really is like diving into a tunnel. It's a matrix. It's the ones and zeros that helps you decode what's happening to you, this Rave ABCs. So what you're going to learn, the basic content focus are what's conscious in you and what's unconscious. Or another way we could say that is the black and the red aspects of who you are, who you think you are, and your body, which is the life. I'm also going to give you a high-level overview of circuits and streams and an introduction to channels in this class. So channels are the life force. So you're going to get a basic overview of how all of these things work, how they fit together, how they puzzle piece in. Where does the energy go? Where do you, or what part, what aspect of you is here to play your role in that stream or flow of energy? And I'm also going to do an introduction to the hexagram structure. That's a relatively new class. I've only taught it a couple times, where I've added an extra bonus class in this presentation. And also to help you learn how to simply keynote, a simple keynoting plan for you to construct your own expression of the main elements in your design. Because in the articulation, the speaking to your genetic potential and wisdom, there's a lot of rich transformation of awareness that is possible if you can commit to learning at least your own design. Now, there's a caveat with that. If you're a projector, you're most likely not going to be as interested in your design, and you're going to be more interested in these other people that are in your life. If that's true, good. It's correct for you to look at somebody else's chart. So if you're auditing this class, if this is new to you, if you've been studying design for years and you're ready to learn more about who you are for others, then as a projector, you want to start studying their designs. So every time you come to class, whoever you are, no matter what your type, please do have at least your body graph printed, not on your phone, but printed in front of you so that you can write on your body graph or at least look at it. Okay, some of us are going to learn differently than others. And next week, I'm going to do a brief overview of you learning how you learn with each of your charts after you do your introductions, okay? So that you can learn how to be supported in taking this in as deeply as possible. So next week, we're going to talk about synthesis after we do our intros. So that's something that you'll learn. And we're also going to have a little section on human design calculations that is a bonus recorded area in the Facebook group, and I'll show you where to find that. We're going to have a whole class on the consciousness crystals and the red and the black so that you understand the fundamental basis for this particular system, if it's interesting to you. And then we're going to talk about the main circuit groups. There are 3. I'll also give you a few keynotes, key references for deeper levels of the circuitry, but I'm not teaching you all the different differentiated aspects of it, just giving you an understanding. But these are the circuit groups that I'm going to make sure that we go over thoroughly in our live classes. And then my favorite class, this one and the last one are my favorite, awareness streams. Awareness streams really help you tap into how you're designed to be turned on in this life and with others, the fields of awareness. And I'm going to also, not reiterate, but reinforce the concepts that you learned in Living Your Design about fear, fear being a mechanism, the seed for the root of intelligence, and also to help you detach from making decisions from the fear that is not correct for you. That's another thing that I like in that class. Now, this is another class that I do have done lately. And the reason I created this new class for you is because as I've been teaching BG5 certifications and Living Your Design Guide teachers' guides, I noticed that they really didn't get the line qualities or the structure of lines very deeply. And I'm about to go into teaching analysts next year. And I wanted to make sure they had a really solid grasp of hexagrams and the lines particularly. So the structure of hexagrams, basically. We're going to do a whole class on that. And then this, my favorite. This, I say everything's my favorite because I'm a total human design geek, but the hexagram structure, Ra came up with these wonderful ways of, it's so brilliant, this guy's distilling the information down to very simple visual aspects that we can remember. So I'm going to take you through a whole class on just each of the lines on this next, our last live lecture piece together. And that's what you're going to learn. Please feel free to type into the chat if you need anything, if there's any questions that you have. I'm going to go over the prerequisites now. Okay, so the first step is Living Your Design and Awakening Journey. It's a transformational workshop or an experience, depends on how people run it. And you can take that class in a couple of weeks with Peter Burf, who is a 3-5 manifesting generator, cross of the Sleeping Phoenix, and he's a sacral pure response generator, and he's been in human design for 10 years now. So I'm really excited that he's joined our team, and he's going to be taking over teaching these Rave ABCs after me, after his class is done, because I'm moving on to higher level classes, and I just don't have the energy to do all the classes that people want me to do anymore. Sad, but, and this has been one of my favorite classes to teach, Rave ABCs, because it's so empowering, and it's just such a trip, such a great journey. Now for the prerequisites, again, Living Your Design as a class and a foundational reading. It must be a foundational reading from a certified human design analyst. So on our team, we have Peter, who does foundational analysis, and also Stacy Weckstein, who does foundational analysis for us. I'm not currently doing individual Rave analysis at the moment because I've got a lot on my plate, a lot of classes and a lot of tests. So now as we go into this, it's under prerequisites because I want to remind you that you can't get it wrong. You can't get it wrong. You don't have to be perfect at this. Every time you make a mistake, like take one, take two, a clapperboard. It's a learning experience, and it's absolutely okay not to remember something. I might have said, hey, we covered this in Living Your Design, but hey, do you remember this? And if you don't remember, it's okay. Just stay connected to this education in a playful stance. You're here to cultivate your burgeoning awakenness or your awareness. It's about doing this work experientially. And my biggest homework assignment for you is to make decisions according to your decision-making strategy. So committing to following your strategy and authority is the primary operative. There are no homework requirements in this class. However, I will recommend certain things that are primarily for your benefit. And you can choose to do that now, or you can choose to do it 2 years from now. It doesn't matter to me. Okay, just that you remember to experiment with your decision making. So you don't have to get it right. You don't have to worry that anybody's going to judge you. I certainly don't. I remember when I went through these classes, it was really, really hard for me to stay focused because my brain system wasn't online. So just practice and play. We're going to have video lectures, and there's also a Facebook group where there's study groups recorded that you can go back and look at other people's process in the classes. I have 8 sessions planned for you where you can have the recording as well if you can't make it to class. And they're approximately 90 minutes. So I'll try to do an hour of lecture and then do a Q&A for a half an hour. Now, sometimes we might be a bigger class or I have more energy, I'm really excited, and we have a lot of stuff to talk about, so we might go all the way up to 2 hours. But 90 minutes is usually nowadays my point of which I need to take a break. Okay, 2 hours maximum. So in between class, I invite you to read and practice. I'm going to give you assignments at the end of class so that you know what to read. And of course, we're going to do all our classes here on Zoom. There are lots and lots of wonderful study material for you. If you're somebody who likes to geek out and you like physical books, I know I do. I still like physical books. And there's a student manual at the Human Design America, so humandesignamerica.com college. They call it the college. Anyway, there's a book that you can get if you would like to. Sorry, I should change that. No longer have a circuitry book that went out of print. But the Living Your Design book that you might have gotten with your class and the definitive book are also reference material. I will give you assignments in the ABC book, and if you don't have that book for whatever reason, I'll also tell you where to find the same information in the definitive book. Now, the ABC's book, it's a thin book, and it will say things differently because they're different authors. Teresa is a projector. The definitive book was written by a manifesting generator, with, of course, taking Ra's material. So just letting you know that if you want to just do it simply and step by step, the ABC Student Manual is a great purchase if you want a nice big, piece of paper, paperback book to play with and to highlight and to take notes in. Now, in these classes, you're welcome to share your personal examples if something really lights you up. You're like, oh my God, I recognize that. Yeah, if I go to, is there anything anyone wants to say or share before we begin class or after we end class? That's when it's a good time to share. Or you can share in the Facebook Messenger group or the discussion group. Now, the discussion group is only for class participants. You need to request to join because unfortunately I can't add you automatically for the most part. I've tried, can't always do it. You need to find the group. The link is in our Facebook Messenger. Julie posted it. And request to join. And then wherever you find the video, if you're watching the video on Facebook, because that's where I do my backup recordings normally. Today it didn't work, so we don't have a backup recording in any groups. But that's where Jasmine is going to drop the link of this class. Drop the link of this class where you can download the original class recording. She's also going to post it for you in the Messenger group. So I realize that everybody's different in their processing of the information, and I want to let you know that I'm doing my best to support all different kinds of learning experiences and ways of taking in the knowledge. So if you need anything, please feel free to ask. Just PM me or PM the group, the whole group, and either Julie, Jazz, or myself will get back to you. And sometimes, a lot of times, other students in the group will rise to the occasion and also answer certain things. Now, like you can see, I'm not sharing my webcam. Unfortunately, I don't have the bandwidth to do so. You're welcome to share yours or not. It's totally up to you. The recording is usually posted sometime after class within the next 24 hours, and you'll get the slides in the Messenger group as a downloadable PDF. I don't have it in the discussion group because, as I said, I'm a third line, and third line's like new and improved, so I'm always tweaking my slides. So every class is unique and different. All right, hopefully that all makes sense. Again, feel free to type if you have any questions. And now I'm going to address some of the most commonly asked questions. This class is not about profile analysis. So your public role, we dive deeper into that in cartography. I don't go into a lot of depth in the full channel descriptions. We go deeper into that in cartography. That's the next class. The biology and function of the centers, we start you off in LYD to get to understand, healthy versus unhealthy. In cartography, we dive deeper into the mechanical functioning of each of the centers. I don't go into the full I Ching gate and line descriptions because that's level 1. Level 1 after cartography is 3 semesters. It's a whole year of learning about the I Ching gate and line full descriptions. We also don't talk about planetary descriptions or cycle analysis, although I am going to give you references to study on your own time about the planets. And that is going to come in professional level too, if your heart is set on becoming an analyst. And also, of course, incarnation crosses. We won't cover that in this class. We have a set structure that Ra put into place. So I do my best to accommodate everyone, but I won't go into depth on any of these topics because that's a different place. Yeah. If you want to become a human design analyst, there's a link in the presentation I'm going to get you where you can press this picture, and it will be a YouTube video where I changed my name because I changed so much, myself and Darshana go into what it takes to become a human design analyst. And again, I'm going to be teaching that sometime next year. So next week, we're going to be talking about the synthesis of human design. So here's your homework. If you have the ABC's book, and so you have a week to get that book, you can read chapter 1, which is about the human design synthesis. If you want to, you can move into chapter 2 and chapter 3. They're very short. The pages in the definitive book of human design, which I highly recommend, 8 through 42, is a lot more than these aspects. It's a lot deeper, just so you know. So it's up to you. If you want to prepare for class, I do recommend that you touch base with the material in between class and do some reading. There's also the Rave I Ching resources, because a lot of people are like, oh, well, what does this gate mean? And what does this line mean? And that's one of the reasons why we ask you to have a foundation reading before you come to this class, so that you're not constantly curious about, well, what does this mean? And what does that mean? Because that's what a foundation analysis should tell you a bit about. Now, not all analysts go into the gates and the lines. Most of them synthesize. And I've gone back and forth because you can do it however you want to. You are your own authority. I've gone back and forth between synthesizing and doing the detailed version. Personally, I prefer the detailed version, but for some people it's too much. So just so that you know, additional resources, you can do mybodygraph.com. And if you go into the information center, it's the I Ching. If you haven't bought it yet, it's available in the shop. And what that does is it unlocks your human design body graph and all the body graphs you have with the gate and the line descriptions. Now, I'm not paid by Jovian Archive to promote this to you. I just use it all the time because it's been stable, it's been helpful. You'll see me demonstrate how it works in these classes when I start to do chart work with you, okay? If you want, and now this book I freaking love, The Complete Rave I Ching. It is such a fabulous reference because it's very simple, but it also has the graphical descriptions of all the crosses and all the I Ching lines. And I still reference it every day to this day because I look and see what's going on, and I still find new stuff even after 8 years. Love, love, love this book. I would recommend you get that if you're a total human design geek and you want to become any kind of professional. This one is really helpful. The My Body Graph is great for newcomers as well. And you can also listen to Ra talk about your design. It's not in the I Ching feature. It's in the Talking Body Graphs when you unlock that feature. Love it. Now, the definitive book of human design might be too much. You can see how thick it is. It's $50. Might be too much for you at this point. If you are becoming any kind of analyst, professional, or if you are a projector, you're probably going to want to get that book. It is, I think, $50 on Amazon. Oh, the other one is in Human Design America, by the way. All right, so I do my best to come to class a few minutes early so that I can account for dropping microphones and such. And I would like to invite you to come into class early as well if you'd like to. I just won't give you my full attention until we start streaming or recording and such. So for next week, if you can, get the student manual if it's right for you. I'm not telling you you have to, but one kind of book or another would be helpful. Jovianarchive.com has tons of free resources. Again, I've worked with them since 2014. It took me a year to go through all of their free resources, by the way. So many resources. So I will commonly refer you to aspects there if you'd like to hear it from the horse's mouth raw. You do not have to get the software. They've asked me to recommend it, the free or the student edition. I would personally hold off and use mybodygraph.com. It's the same programmer, the guy that is in charge of that. and it's the same company. It's just one's online and one's on only PC. So that's, and my personal experience with MMI is that it keeps crashing. So I don't like it. Maybe it's my computer. I don't know. But bring some water or food or a snack, your book, writing material, your chart printed, others' charts too, if you're a parent or a projector. And please do turn off your phone, close the door, close Facebook. Try not to do too many things at once. Now, I understand that stuff comes up. If life gets in the way and for whatever reason you need to back off of this class, please know that we're going to be here. The videos will be here for you. You can always write in and ask questions. You can always return to the information, but you need to download the videos. I can't promise that they'll be there forever because I am a small business and I don't like keep it for years and years and years and years and years. So 10 years down the road, probably won't have this class. Please do download the videos that Jasmine gives to you every week. Now, today, again, overview. My assignment for you is obtain a book, either Rave ABCs or the definitive book. You can read through chapter 1 on synthesis because next week is synthesis, and join the private Facebook group if that's correct for you. If Facebook is not your jam, totally understand that. But you can download Messenger and still use our messaging app without having to use Facebook. So that's how I keep in touch with everybody, because it got to be too much email for me to track everybody's private emails about stuff in the group and answering the same question over and over. So that's why we have a messenger group. It's mostly for emotional support, camaraderie, and any kind of question that comes up that is like, logistical. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. Let me see what's in the chat here. Thank you, Jazz, for the web store for the book. Really appreciate your anticipation of my needs, which is correct for you as a need motivation projector. Really appreciate that. So all of this is in the Facebook group, and I'm going to go give you a quick tour of that in just a minute. And this is the assignments for the entire class. So let's see. Do I want to go there yet? Yeah, let me go there. Here we go. Let me show you if I hopefully. Okay, here's my messenger group with you guys. So the people who are officially signed up, Ezgi, Nori, Paula, Roxana, Suzanne, Tania. And then myself, I'm the teacher. Julie is my assistant in admin and also in holding space for your homework assignment review. Yogeshwar is also a living or design guide, and he's a translator who's going to be teaching Rave ABCs to his private group. So he's in here so that he has access to resources. And then, of course, you've already met, well, you'll meet Jazz next week if she shows up for class. But Jazz is also one of my assistants. I'm a projector. I can't keep on top of the details, and I definitely can't do all this stuff alone. So you'll see me in different groups of people with different support teams around me, because that's how I've learned how to manage my energy. So I cannot do this stuff alone, and so you'll meet a lot of our team members as you go along in this journey. So now here's how I'm going to find, let's see, there it is, see? So each of my classes that I teach, I've created Facebook groups for in order to have a communal place. Community is really important to me. It's part of where I fulfill my purpose in my Chiron, which is it's just a few years away. In order for my resources, my live and recorded classes to be in one place, I created these Facebook groups. I tried doing it on a paid platform. I couldn't figure the dang thing out. I spent thousands of dollars last year trying to set it up. Didn't work for me. So I went back to Facebook, and I apologize if it's confusing. I do my best. Let me know if you see anything out of alignment, out of sync, out of pattern. If you need anything, please, please, please just go ahead and tag me. So how you tag people is you just write the @ symbol and then their name, and my face should pop up in this group. Okay, so when you click that link that Julie gave you, you're going to find it lands you in the learning content. So it's basically a units area of this private Facebook group only for my students that I've taught over the years. So you'll see other people who have taken this class. And there's all of these units spread out. Now, there's more units than there are classes because I've added little pieces, little other things that might be supportive for you to know, as like there's the rave calculation that I'm not going to do a whole class on. There's additional worksheets and resources and other things that I've added to this class as material, additional learning material. I'm a geeky projector. I love details and materials, so that's where I store them. Now, as a backup, I do my best to live stream into the Facebook group so that there's a place for past students to interact with new students or to refresh themselves. You can see I've got 109 people in here only over the last, I think I started, 3 years of teaching this. And this is my 19th class. So hopefully that makes sense to you. You can go through the material at your own pace. And if you're looking for the recording, you can go to the unit and find the latest video there. If I can keep on top of organizing it, because I do have to go to videos and then put the video physically in here. And Jazz is the one that puts the recording so that you can download. You can't download the Facebook videos, but you can the Zoom videos. Again, the Zoom videos disappear at some point, probably when they cut me off, because right now I'm not paying for extra storage and I have tons and tons and tons of gigabytes up there. And at some point it just disappears. They delete it. So that's the way that I do things there. I hope that that makes sense. Please let me know if there's any other questions that you have. My last and final parting comment before we take a brief break. I give everybody a 5-minute break between 50 minutes and an hour of these classes because, and I'll show you why next week, some of us need a focusing break. My mind needs a focusing break. My body's like, nah, we could keep going. My brain system. But for those of you who have a left brain, it's a lot of energy it takes to focus on somebody talking and, looking at stuff and getting stimulated and whatnot. So it's best to just stand up from the computer and go for a little walk, go to get something to snack or the bathroom or whatever. Just get away from the electronics and come back in 5 minutes and be refreshed, okay? So my other piece that I'm going to give to you as far as this, where is it? Play. There we go. Can you commit? There's a video on YouTube I'm going to post into our group to help you learn how to reorganize your patterns, how to change your fate by really integrating this knowledge, how you practice your strategy and authority. So I'll explain that in this slide in that video. And again, there's the request to join. I just showed you, request to join that Facebook group because that's where I hold everything. Next week, we're going to do intros. So if you can just say your name, where you live, what is the focus of your time, what do you do, who are you, what brings you to this class, what do you want, anything of that nature. You can type it in if you're shy. You can send it in if you're not coming to class live, and I'll read it for you. And as we do that and take turns, I'm going to look at your design, particularly from the variable and the circuitry perspective, and offer some suggestions for your experimentation of how you take in knowledge best. Okay, so that is part of my differentiation degree training, is learning how people learn has been one of my interests. And so I'd like to pass that gift on to you, and I do that before these higher level classes, ABCs and cartography, if I can, if I remember. Okay, so this is my last class. Thank you so much for joining me today, and it's already confirmed. It's definitely beginning next week, as long as, nothing comes in the way. I do have to let you know that my internet is now satellite. I moved out to the country a few months ago, and once in a great while we have a storm. It's the beginning of monsoon season. So if for whatever reason, a storm, I get sick, what have you, if I have to postpone class, we're just going to tack on an extra week. And that week, what I'll do is I'll give you bonus recordings to supplement your learning, to make up for me missing you guys. Okay, I hope that that's okay with you. And as a non-energy type, that's how I've learned to cope and manage with not having gate 15, which brings consistency. Don't have that. Sorry, not here. If you like my teaching and my way of speaking, I look forward to learning from you. If you can't hear me for whatever reason, maybe I'm not the right teacher for you or it's not the right time. So thank you so much for joining me today. Let's take a brief break, and when we come back, I'll see if there's any questions that I can help you with. Ah, yes, and Jasmine just gave us the link, but she gave it to me privately. Oh, yes, please do share that, Jazz. And I will see you guys. See, my computer says it's 12:54 at 1 o'clock my time. I'll start talking again and see if anybody has any questions. So please feel free to talk into the chat or to unmute after class is over here, and we'll just commune a little bit longer. Thank you, Paula. I'm really looking forward to meeting all of you. It's only been this past year that I've been doing ABCs, where other students, mostly other students, are coming from other teachers. So it's fun to find you at this stage in the game. And I'm looking forward to supporting you in your process. Okay, well, my friends, if there's nothing else that you need, I will put a pause in our conversation and we'll continue looking into this fascinating world of human design next week. I really adore this system. I hope you do too. If you'd like to come along for this journey, you're very welcome. Thank you very much for joining me today. And thank you again, Jasmine, for your support. Really helpful to have someone who is watching, got my back, and yeah, anticipating my needs. I appreciate that. Thank you, Jazz. All right, my friends, take care and bye for now.